Thanks for tuning in to another interview over on the Hammerdown Festival YouTube channel. And today I'm sat with Tygers of Pan Tang legend Robb Weir. How you doing, Rob?
Very good, and hello to everybody who's watching.
Thanks so much for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. When we announced you guys playing Hammerdown Festival for the first time, there was a post that got put on your Facebook page to see if anybody could remember any time you've played Brighton before. And a good friend of ours, Gary, said that you had many, many years ago. And it got me thinking, are there any places that you've not played before that you'd like to tick off that list at some point? Because you've played a lot of
Oh,
places.
we have. We've been very, very lucky. Do you know? I always wanted to play in Moscow.
In Moscow, okay.
In Moscow, yeah. I always wanted to play in Moscow. I don't know. Just seeing pictures of Red Square and just really, it just kind of evokes all sorts of emotions. In as much as I just really would like to have been there and played there and said, "Yeah, we've done that."
Yeah.
But I can't see that happening anytime soon, unfortunately. I would also love to play somewhere in India, Bombay. One of the big kind of cities. I just don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't think they get enough kind of rock music venturing across there for whatever reason. I'm really not sure, but yeah, I always kind of really would like to have played there as well.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
it's not a common tour stop off, is it, at India when you
no,
see big tour posters?
No, not at all. And that's probably one of the reasons why I think it should be accessible. India, might be, we don't know, the biggest rock and roll market in the world, but we don't know
Yeah.
because not a lot of people go there.
No, no. But as more bands come out of there, I mean, there's all sorts of bands coming up out of India now that are playing festivals like Download and stuff. So who knows? Maybe that will open up that market. But looking on the opposite side of things, you've played some pretty amazing shows over the years. Things like Reading and Wacken and the stuff with Saxon all springs to mind for me. But I wanted to know what some of your favourite shows have been.
Um, I think we have to go back and start probably at the beginning. So we started off playing anywhere we could: pubs, clubs, private parties, people's back gardens. If we could fit in on the back shelf of somebody's mini, would play there. Anywhere really. But I was a lot thinner back then. I probably could fit on the back shelf of a mini.
I'm sorry.
Um, but and then moving on, we had almost a year's residency on a Wednesday night of all nights, which is probably the worst night in the week to ask anybody to come out
Yeah.
because it's a day or 2 days before payday. It's not the weekend. It's just after you know. I don't like Mondays, and we're limping into Tuesdays. Um, it was without a word of a lie. And anybody in the northeast who happens to watch this maybe and was there will bear me out by saying we used to sell. I don't like using the word sellout, but it was packed every Wednesday night.
That's
Um,
amazing.
and it was great. It was absolutely great. Maybe it was a different time. I don't know. We had, the shipyards were in full flow. Swan Huddins and Wallsend. The concert steelworks were in full flow. Coal mining was going at it. So maybe people, wanted to kick back and
Mhm.
take a couple of hours out of their busy days and come and rock out and enjoy themselves. Sadly, we've lost most of those industries now up
Yeah.
here in the north,
Yeah.
as indeed everywhere, I suppose. But you have to adapt. That's what you've got to do. I've been at it 47, 48 years, and I've certainly had to adapt. The biggest show, certainly Reading 80. I think we played to 72,000 people, which
Amazing.
is
Yeah.
that's a few. You couldn't see the back, and it was that itself was quite mind blowing. And indeed, John Sykes's first ever real show. Um,
Wow. Okay. Wow. Wow.
if you've got time for a tiny little quick story, his first show when he first joined the band, we played up here in the northeast in a town called Wallsend, and we played the Forum. I think it was the Forum or the town hall. I can't remember. It was upstairs. It was an upstairs venue, and back in those days, our road crew used to set off a few smoke bombs at the front of the stage.
Right.
So we were playing it under the guise of the Wildcats not Tygers of Pan Tang. Why we were doing that, I'm sure our management have got a very good reason for it. But anyway, it was John's first sort of unofficial show, if you like, official, unofficial. Everybody knew, of course, it was us playing because we're a local band.
Yeah, sure.
So it was packed. So support band finished. It was time for us to come on. Our road crew set off all these smoke bombs along the front of the stage. When the intro finished and we walked onto the stage and the lights came on, we couldn't see a thing. Not an apps. It was a white smoke curtain in front of us.
Yeah.
With changing colour as the lights were flashing.
Yeah, yeah.
And the audience couldn't see us because our road crew had over-egged so many in their excitement. I don't know, they put about 10 across the front of the stage. And again, without a word of a lie, it took 20 minutes before we could see the audience and they could see us. They could hear us, but neither party could see each other. So that was a good comical start to John's career, I guess.
20 minutes, wow.
20 minutes, yeah. You couldn't clear it. You could not. It was like the worst fog ever.
That's great.
And then we go from there to, I don't know, playing in Rio.
Wow, yeah, that's special.
Playing a crazy festival in Colombia, the Jag Fest in Colombia, which was just mad. Serbia, we played Serbia last year, I think. Was it last year or the year before? Maybe it was last year. Never played there before. When Serbia and Croatia, gosh, I hope I'm going to get my geography right here, were Yugoslavia.
Mm-hmm.
In 1980, when Wildcat came out, we got a gold album in Yugoslavia.
Wow.
But we never went to collect it, and indeed we never went to play there for some bizarre reason. Why wouldn't you go to somewhere that people have bought so many records? And we're going back to the days when there was no CDs or internet. Records were to get a gold record. To get a good record, kind of globally, you had to sell 500,000 copies. Now, I'm sure we didn't sell that many in Yugoslavia, but they definitely had a gold record for us. So when we played Serbia last year, it was one of the few shows we did in that run where there wasn't actually any stage security, and it was a constant kids. When I say kids, in their late teens, early 20s, all dressed as if they're at, a new wave of British heavy metal show in 1980 with their spandex and their Motorhead bullet belts, and I was just in awe. I thought, where have you got all this stuff from?
Yeah,
and B, thank God you found it because it's great. But yeah, the stage diving and oh my word, and it was just quite. You had to kind of after the show, and we were back at the hotel having a glass of wine and a cherry aid. We just couldn't. We talked about it for days. We just couldn't believe it. So
that's insane. Wow, what a show! What a cool. Oh, that sounds amazing.
So no pressure, Hammerdown. No pressure at all. This is what we expect now.
Yes, that's now that's set the benchmark now. So, Bloodlines is the 13th studio album from the band.
It is.
There's some really heavy riffs on that record, particularly on Fire on the Horizon, Edge of the World. And I wondered, with your songwriting process, does it start with a riff? Is it a concept? Is it a lyric? What's generally the process, or does it change a lot?
No, it doesn't change. No, it's been the same for years. It normally starts with a riff. Either I'll come up with it, or occasionally Craig can come up with it. Jack can come up with it. Hugh comes up with it. But we all do. Francesco as well. And indeed, Fire on the Horizon. I'd sent quite a few song ideas out to Francesco for him to further develop them and work on them. And I said to him at one point, I've sent you loads of ideas, but you haven't sent me one. Have you got one? Have you got one to send me? And he sent me Fire on the Horizon, and it was one of those songs where I had so many emotions going on. Most of them jealousy, because
great, yeah.
Oh my God, it was one of those. When I first heard it, I thought, I wish I'd written that. Oh my God, such a great guitar riff with a great vibe. And so I rang him up and I said, that's a great song, that. And he went, oh, do you think, is that, oh, thank you very much, yeah. And I said, no, really. I said, I know you're Italian and I shouldn't really swear or call you names, but you're an absolute twat. And he said, what, why? What have I done? What have I done? I said, what's the matter? What's the matter? I said, no, no, I mean that in the nicest possible terms, because my God, I really wanted to come up with a song like that.
Oh, I
So
hope you took it well.
he saw the funny side and started to laugh. But yeah, it's a very exciting song to play live as well. It's
Mm.
great.
Well,
It's got a yeah, and when Jack put the Jack sang on it, it came to life yet, even more. There was another layer on it. But we're currently, I think there's one song for us all to hear with the new album, which will give us 17, I think, 17 songs.
wow.
So that we'll be voting. We do it very democratically. We'll all vote on our favourite 12 songs by the end of this week. Craig's flight is booked out to Copenhagen third week in July because he's going out there to record the drums with our producer. And then when the drums are done, they'll be shared back to us all, and we'll record our guitar tracks in our studios. And Jack works with an Italian producer called Guido, who he has done for years, and specializes in recording vocals.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will come together by the end of the summer. It'll be given to the record company probably November time, I'm guessing, and then they start their promotion machine, which takes about 6 months. So
That's so exciting.
yeah, beginning of May. The exciting, and we've on Hugh's suggestion, he said, "Do you think we could go a little bit heavier?" To which we all went, "Yeah, we could certainly do that, as long as the criteria for songs for us is whoever offers a song into the Tigers forum, we all listen to it, and the first question we ask ourselves is it Tigers?
Right.
Because
Okay.
if it's not Tigers, then it doesn't appear
Yeah.
on our radar. But that's the big question, and we all, if we all agree it is Tigers, then we take it forward and we really Tigerize it.
So, okay, I'm going to ask a spin-off question then, because one of my
Yeah,
questions was actually going to be about the new album. So, with that, then, if you've got 17 tracks that have made that cut of "Is This a Tiger Song?" because you've got them
yeah,
this far, you
yeah.
must have a stack of B-sides and songs that never quite make the albums. I mean, with it, imagine there were a few of Bloodlines and Rituals and whatever.
There are a few kicking about, absolutely. We are endeavouring. I'm hoping. I'm not giving anything away because I'm meeting with Tom, our manager, for a couple of glasses of wine later on today.
Nice.
I think there's going to be a 12-inch single, which will have two tracks that you might not have heard,
Okay.
and two live tracks on the B side, which didn't make the Live Blood album. And when I say they didn't make the Live Blood album, they were recorded for the Live Blood album, but there was nowhere to put them because we didn't physically have the
No, no
space.
space, no space. Right.
Because the CD is three songs shorter than the double LP.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so to get everything on, to get the full show, it would have had to be in a triple LP. And then you get into the realms of, it's just not cost effective.
Yeah. You've got a box set all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Saga. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, we're talking about a 14th studio album here, and
Yeah,
we briefly had this chat in Worthing a couple of months ago when you had a slightly longer set there of 90 minutes, and at Hammerdown you've got an hour. I mean, that's not even 13, 14 songs. So how on earth do you select a set list? Because that must be, I mean, you've probably been asked this 100 times, Rob, but I mean, that must be
it,
a hard thing to.
it is. My goodness, Harry, it absolutely is. And I generally produce the set lists. I'll send them to Jack, and I send them to Jack because as players, guitar players, and I'm including Hugh as a bass player, as
Yeah.
players, and Craig as a drummer. Um, Occasionally, Craig will say, "I'd rather we do that song there because it's a big song for me to play."
Right, yeah.
But particularly with singers, for the keys and the key of the songs, I should say, and taking breaths and stuff like that, Jack does have a wee, a slight preference. So
Yeah, sure, sure.
I sent it to Jack to get his okay. What I do in the band is I do avoid us all sitting down to work out a set because we would just never would.
Yeah, you'd be doing it for hours. Yeah, yeah.
You would be doing it for us. And in fact, we did this when we were on a 70,000 tons of metal cruise ship last January. We sat down and just we're talking about the songs coming up for last year, and I just thought to myself, I can't wait for this meeting to end because I want to go to the bar and drink a bottle of Jack Daniels through my eye. I was just, I was just
Painful process then. Yeah.
Oh, I was at the top of the step ladder and then wanted to jump off. Oh my word! And it's all positive.
Yeah,
There's nothing
sure.
negative. It's all. Oh no! Well, I think we should play this song because. Well, no, I think we should play this song. You can't not play that song. So it's everybody's got a positive. It's not. We're not biting at each other. It's
Mm.
just. It's all positive. Enthusiastic. We've got to do that. Oh, you can't not do that song. And
Well,
so.
it's definitely a good problem to have that you
Oh yeah, it is.
only
It is.
have 10 good songs and therefore that is the set list. I mean, it's great that there's so many that you've got to choose between, I suppose. So that's the positive spin on that. So a bit of a fun question to end things off. We've been asking all the
Yeah.
bands in these interviews if they
Yeah.
would pick their ultimate festival lineup that Tigers would perform alongside. If you could give me 6 bands that you'd love to have to share the stage with for a 7-band bill, who would you pick?
Okay. So I would love to have played on or have along on the same bill as Bon Scott's AC/DC.
Okay, yeah.
I saw them many, many times. They were just, to coin a stupid phrase, they were just electric. There was just energy buzzing off the walls. Tremendous. Really, really good. So there's one. Oh, right. Blackfoot, great band. I really, really enjoyed them. Oh, gosh. Oh, this is really making me brain think. Y&T. You wouldn't get all these bands on the same bill, but it would be great. Do you know? I'm going to go modern here, and I'm going because I love a bit of Rammstein.
Yeah,
So
nice. Okay.
yeah, I think we've got to have some flamethrowers in there. So we'll go Rammstein. It's got to be Whitesnake. I
Yeah,
think yeah,
nice.
it's got to be Whitesnake really. And the last one probably the very early, as in supporting Black Sabbath, Van Halen.
Right, okay. What a lineup. So, Tigers of Pan Tang with Whitesnake, Van Halen, AC/DC, Bon Scott's era, Blackfoot, Y&T, and Rammstein. It's not a bad gig, Rob. That would be a
No, it's not.
pretty decent.
It's not. I think we'll open up and go to the bar and watch the show.
Good, clever move. I like it. Rob, thanks so much for chatting to me. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you very, very soon. Everybody, if you haven't got your tickets yet to Hammerdown Festival, grab yours now and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. See you soon.